Well, the main thing I wanted to get is a lot of the details, small stuff, like brickwork, but also wanted to like show like the main entrance for like the entrance, so I wanted to give the whole height of the entrance, give you more of an idea of like going through it.
So this is a section. This is a detail of that. Oh, good. So this is just a zoom up of that. That's kind of cool. So, I mean, one thing as you continue to work on this is if the cut lines pop, I mean, the plane is very strong. And here, I know the cut lines are not so many, but to read that truly as a section. But this is the elevation part of it, right? So there's a line which does it go right through here, or does this actually belong somewhere down in the middle of this? This element right here is the section through this part, right? This the way it's laid out. But what is this then is the elevation.
Right.
Looking, in other words, that to that. So that's the only. So in some ways it would have been clearer to have this over here. Because the eye is trying to read those as a section elevation. Although you don't use the section elevation as a device. So.
But then you would have lost the reading of it.
You would have lost the reading.
I mean, what's nice about both of these is that there's a factor of 10 quality to it, that there's the plan, and then there's the plan within it. Is that the plan?
There it goes again.
So there's 3 scales in there.
Cool. Yeah, that's the plan.
Which sort of implies that, somewhere there's a little bitty dot, and then, and then what's the next? Is there a scale up from here? Is that what this is? So there's only 3. There's 3 zoom clips, and then that organizes.
That one only has 2.
So this is 1-to-1, but this is at that side.
Way down now.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you. Oh, here's the whole wall. Oh, that's what this is.
That's the whole city wall.
Very nice. They're both very nice. I do think it's worth finishing. So that's, in terms of really transforming the paper.
It really is, and I love the sepia tone. I just wish, again, I think Jim's question about whether was this done without any lines. Just some crispness of line on this would make this thing pop. Like for instance, to read this is a section up to the center here, right? And then it's an elevation of the wall beyond that. So just to be able to kind of have, to really understand where that shift occurs in line, it could be done as I don't think you can actually create a white line in watercolor, right? So you can't do that, right?
So you have to leave the paper. That's the.
Just to be able to have that shift there.
Just the white paper.
Or to, right now, or maybe the other way around it, that this was really bold and you can understand the shadow when it was cut. And I understand that this is a sepia tone, but if it were a Beaux-Arts drawing, right, that would be like kind of Chinese red. And that would make that pop. And then you understand that the reason why this isn't popping.
Yeah, I don't know, the smokiness of it.
The smokiness of it, but there's...
It looks like it was baked rather than fried.
Fried.
Jim, you wouldn't be inclined to leave the poche as white?
That would have been a neat trick.
That's really...
She's brought the poche as the last layer, right?
Which is...
I think it would be a stunning drawing
If it just would pop a little bit more, it would just... Because I think the popping of it would help this whole reading of the three-layer cake.
Well, it's also a tonal thing, because this could be lighter, right?
Yeah.
If this were, relatively speaking, it's done, even though it's supposed to be recessed, the scale zoomed out, so it would be more atmosphere. So it would be, you'd read it as a lighter, as a lighter tone, and that way it would seem less like another piece of this order, because those tones are too related.
But then the transparency of the city and the walls beyond, if we could get like a couple places. Yeah, well, it could be even lighter, and you really need to have those walls float over it. Because I don't know. You see the transparency isn't as clean as it could be, but it's still a lovely idea. And then the implied rotation of, you know, when I'm here, I'm at that scale. When I'm here, I'm at that scale. And I guess when I'm here, I'm at that scale. It's a nice. It spins the drawing around for you.
No, it's a very clear example of, you know, of an LNT, you know, without being overly complex. Now, granted, it's a fairly straightforward element, right? So it's not. It has geometrical clarity, unlike some of the others that are more complicated.
So I'm wondering here if you sort of have the same thing, right? We've got that scale here, and then we have this scale here, and then Jim's got some issues with whether or not. I mean, this looks like I kind of partially like this because you can put a seam here and fold this thing back.
And make it three-dimensional.
And make it three-dimensional, so that's maybe what your eye does. But I wonder if you could have taken this.
That's nice.
Right, if you could have taken this and had this essentially behind as a background to this and kind of ghosted in with some overlap, so you read that out. Because it's pretty mute compared to the section, right? That elevation is just a solid brick wall.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been floating kind of back here in that. I guess what would suffer is that you've got the full-blown arch completing the page, so in a sense you have a scale that your wind doesn't have, but you only have it sectionally here, right? This is this arch, right?
It's this arch right
Large
here.
detail. Yeah, no,
That's
that's
the outer. Oh, this is the outer arch. And not, isn't the bigger one? Isn't the big arch once you're inside the sally port?
Yeah.
So I mean, I would have done if this were to be that. It should be that arch.
I think it could go either way.
I think it could come all right. So
But I think what's very, very nice is the idea of that having that scale, because this has all of the urban scale bits, you know, whereas this one really does incorporate a very large scale detail.
that's what's great about it, and it incorporates it organized to the page, so that what's really nice about it is that this line, you're taking the inherent very close golden section qualities of the A4, A3? A3 paper, and you're incorporating, so here's the square that's pretty close to the section, and then that's the arch. So you're organizing the thing on the paper where it should be. And I'm wondering, is there a way to make the clarity between this as a blow-up of that, you know, without the stupidity of the lines pointing at it, but some way that you could better understand that fragmentation? I mean, what scale is this in? This is at a scale that we don't have on this page, right?
Well, yeah, it's the scale of, you know, it's the arrow to, you know, the arrow.
But there's nothing that corresponds
Keys it in.
to this anywhere else in plan on this page, is there?
Just that, I mean, it's basically.
No, but just that, this portion,
Right. That's the common line. Yeah, because he's relying a lot on this line to both tell you what's going on here and what's going on here, so that
See,
imaginary line.
I guess there's the implication that this wall here is happening right there, so that we could have actually had the beginnings of a major gate inscribed on the paper. And then that would have given you that scale. So again, what's great about this is that, you know, you're looking at it like this, you're looking at it like this, you're looking at it like that, you're looking at it like that, all in one thing. And every time you do that, you're turning, which is fabulous.
I think in order to read the legibility of the scale jump, there needs to be a rigor that's not there right now. Whether this be the same scale as this, or this be properly proportioned to that, because here, there's a spacing such that these wouldn't appear on that. Like, if this is the right scale, then these arches are somewhere over here.
Are those are in the wall down outside the gate, aren't they? Or are those
Yeah,
these arches right here?
It's essentially a detail of this. Right?
Oh, they are? Okay.
Oh, you get three of them. So, I mean, there the alignment maybe misled the relationship. Is it? But I mean, I think it's still a nice. I mean, there are ways of doing it. I think probably if this is the punchier and this becomes recessive, but as this moves forward and this moves forward yet again.
This is a classic problem even in
Totally.
construction drawings. Once
Yes.
you show one detail
Exactly.
to the next detail level to the next.
Exactly. And there is the element which we talked about the element in these kinds of drawings that incorporates time. You know, what's done first? You know, how does the drawing build up in the same way that, and time in this case is also the time that one experiences it from afar, from within, from approaching, from occupying, and from leaving. So these become very Heideggerian